Hello and welcome to Bill Ricardi's weekly Patreon update. I, of course, am Bill Ricardi, a creator and purveyor of fantasy novels. So what's happening this week? Let's do a quick rundown. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the continuation of the Blackstaff Siblings trilogy. That would be book 2, which I have started to write. We're also going to talk a little bit about the delay that is happening in the Ihi Saga series. The second book, which was due out basically this week, has been delayed about 3 or 4 weeks due to a slower beta process. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening there and how my fan club has gotten involved. That was an interesting twist, and we'll get into that. And finally, we're going to talk a little bit about the finishing of a cutesy little story that I'm doing over on Wattpad, which may develop into something quite a bit more. And we'll talk about that as well as a few other details in just a little while. Let's start at the start. The original project that I'm working on this week is book 2 of the Blackstaff Siblings, which of course is the second trilogy in the Panos universe. It's going quite well, amazingly well. My average this week, despite having a lot of other projects on my plate, is something like 2,700 words a day, which is about 30-40% more than I normally produce in a day. The outline was very detailed. The idea for this book was very much crystallized long ago. So basically, everything's coming together, and it's coming together quite well. I've already blown the 10,000 words a week mark out of the water. We're going to be looking at something like, 14 or 15,000 words this week. It's really flowing. If the size of the book is similar to Another Stupid Demon, which was the second book in my first trilogy, then this book is going to be done 3 weeks early, which is good because, of course, I've got this delay, which we're about to talk about in my other series. The alternative is that this might be the largest Panos book ever printed. I want to say 107,000 words was where we were at for the largest Panos book, and this one could easily, if I use the full time frame, hit 130,000 plus words. That's not my intention. That wasn't the intention for the book. It was going to be a longer book, but not that long. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if the flow continues. We'll see if the material is worth expanding into, and then we'll see how the beta readers envision, the way that the second book should be looking. Speaking of beta readers, let's move on to the next subject. The next subject is, of course, Cadence and what's happening with Cadence. Brief aside, good news on the cover side of things. I have found, at the last convention I was at, I have found a cover artist. She has submitted a few great ideas for a scene. And, of course, that scene was a conglomerate of 2 back-to-back scenes in the book itself. And she's come up with a really cool idea for a cover. I sent my feedback and said, this is great. Let's make sure the lettering stuff is there, space for the lettering. And as long as that's the case, let's go forward. I presented a budget, and I think it's going to be great. So we'll see how she does, and I'll make further announcements on that cover very shortly. The beta readers are just getting over their real life stretches that cause them not to read, which happens, right? Real life does happen, but this is a problem when you have a smaller beta pool. Is that when stuff affects 1 or 2 of your 3 main beta readers, the whole process can just slow right down. So the alternative then is to open it up to more beta readers, and I've done this in a limited capacity this time around, and I can do it in a much greater capacity for the book afterwards. How am I opening this up? Well, members of my fan club, members of my mailing list, which you can sign up to at billricardi.com. At the very top, It says basically you get a free copy of Another Stupid Spell if you sign up. Sign up here, you put your name in. Um, and once you're on that mailing list, as long as you're engaging with the stuff that I send out, it automatically ranks you up. And the people at the higher ranks are offered a slot as part of basically this elite readers club, which gets a copy of the books in digital format a couple weeks in advance, and they can make those last minute suggestions, changes, and what have you as kind of an additional beta period. We call these advanced readers, and these advanced readers are very important to initial sales, initial reviews, initial everything. They are the super fans that kind of pave the way. So in addition to the beta process that is going on right now, once I get enough beta feedback, and I think that the manuscript for Cadence is in really good shape, I'm going to send this off to this advanced reader team. And the advanced reader team will also be going through it, and it's a much broader pool. I think I've got about 6 people already who are really interested, and I've sent them all the precursor material, such as Rhythm and the Ihisaga wiki and the whole 9 yards. So they're going to be up to speed and ready to go. This will combat any issues that I have by having a rather smaller beta team for my urban fantasy stuff. So boom, settled. It's looking like Rhythm is now in. I'm sorry, that Cadence, the sequel to Rhythm, is now in great shape. And by the end of this month, you should see it on bookshelves / digital bookshelves everywhere. It is going to be a broad release, just like Rhythm. And that leads me smoothly into the next subject. And the next subject is that I'm eventually going broad on everything. So some of the additional stuff I've been doing has been preparing to be non-exclusive on Amazon. I talked a little bit about this last time. Just be aware that the next book that this is going to happen to is Another Stupid Demon. So if you're currently reading on the Kindle Unlimited stuff, Another Stupid Demon's availability is probably about to drop off the face of the earth. And then after that, a few weeks later, it's Another Stupid Apocalypse. And after that, it is Princess of Last Resort. So no more freebie reads on those books. They're going to have to be purchased. But the good news is you can purchase them from then any store, because I'm going broad, and I already have a presence on Apple. I already have a presence on the Google Play Store. I have a presence on Kobo. And it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. So that's the good news there. Finally, the last subject that I want that was kind of an insert, an extra subject. The final subject that I actually wanted to tackle was my cutesy little romance series is coming to a close. Probably, I thought it was going to be this Saturday, but I'm adding an extra chapter, actually, I believe. So it's likely going to be next Tuesday. The cutesy story is available over on Wattpad, and it is called My Foxy Boyfriend. It's a magical romance, kind of a Studio Ghibli style. It's cute, It's about relationships and cooking and magic and various other things, but very much based in the real world with magical realism in mind. So it's great. I love doing it. It's gonna flesh out at maybe about 40,000 words. The question is, what happens afterwards? What happens afterwards is that I leave that version of it up on Wattpad, but that would be kind of a background or a base version of what could happen next. It is possible because Amazon has a competition coming up, basically saying that within the next 2.5 months, if you publish a book with KDP, they can put it into this contest. I don't have a book that's appropriate for that, simply because of the way my publishing cycle works every 4 months. I won't have anything to put out for that unless I take some extra time and turn My Foxy Boyfriend into a cute little romance novel, maybe adding 15 to 18,000 words to it, like a big novella or small novel, right? And putting it up on Amazon. and possibly putting it up everywhere else as well. I don't believe that it would have physical copies. This would be a digital only release, but I like the idea of it. I put in a lot of work, and it's going to go through a beta process if I do that. So I'll reach out to my fans. I'll reach out to fans of the light romance genres, and we'll see what happens. So that's what's happening with My Foxy Romance. The ultimate conclusion to at least the Wattpad version of that story is going to be happening in the next 5 days or so. So stay tuned for that. I've got several links on all my blogs and what have you. I'll try to remember to put a link at the bottom of this video as well. That's it from me. It's been a busy week. Coming back from the convention has meant I've brought a lot of signed books. If anyone needs signed books, you know how to contact me. We'll talk about shipping and what have you, in any sort of emails that I get. And I can get those out to you kind of at the normal price, which is around 10 quid plus whatever the shipping is. I hope everyone's having a great day. And it looks like it might be a sunnier day than they predicted here in Belfast. So I'm going to go out there and get some of my, crucial solar vitamins and what have you. Everyone have a great weekend, and we'll catch up with you very soon.